The rain started falling while Alexander Zverev was already locked into rhythm, the ball heavy, the rallies physical, and suddenly everything stopped. Not because of an injury, not because of a challenge, but because Melbourne reminded the Australian Open who really runs the show. If you turn on day for expecting smooth second-round tennis, what you got instead was confusion, frustration, and one massive question echoing across social media and stadium seats alike. How does a Grand Slam with roofs still get suspended by weather? Today we are breaking down exactly why the Australian Open was suspended, who it affected the most, why fans were furious, and what this tells us about how modern tennis still struggles with forces it claims to have solved. Let's start with the moment everything went sideways. Alexander Zverev was deep into his second-round match against Alexander Muller when rain began creeping into Melbourne Park. This was not a downpour at first. It was light, almost teasing, the kind players notice before officials do. And here's where the controversy ignited. Zverev was playing on John Cain Arena, a stadium with a roof designed for this exact scenario. But the roof did not close. Instead, raindrops began hitting the surface while the match continued, players slipping slightly, towels working overtime, and confusion spreading through the crowd. Fans watching from home couldn't believe what they were seeing. A roof stadium, rain falling, tennis still being played. Eventually, officials halted play, closed the roof, and began the slow process of drying the court. That pause lasted around 40 minutes. Right in the middle of the third set, ripping momentum out of the match and igniting debate across the tennis world. And Zverev was just the beginning. While his match eventually resumed, others weren't so lucky. Across Melbourne Park, weather delays stacked up like dominoes. Courts without roofs were the first to go silent. Players were sent back to locker rooms. Spectators were left staring at gray skies and scoreboards frozen in time. Karolina Muchova versus Alycia Parks was one of the matches hit hardest. Parks, who thrives on rhythm and raw power, had to cool off completely as rain stalled play. For a player still establishing consistency at the highest level, delays like this can be brutal. Momentum doesn't just pause. It evaporates. Cameron Norrie and Emilio Nava faced similar disruption. Long rallies, physical exchanges, then nothing. Players sat, stretched, waited, and tried to stay warm while the weather decided their schedule. Francis Tiafoe's match against Francisco Campsana on Margaret Court Arena eventually resumed, but not without interruption. Even on one of the show courts, timing was everything, and timing was lost. Then came the moment that hit closest to home for Australian fans. Alex de Minaur, the country's number one, was playing on Rod Laver Arena, the crown jewel of Melbourne Park. This court has one of the most advanced retractable roofs in tennis. And yet, even here, play was delayed. The roof had to be closed. The court had to be dried. The match had to wait. For fans, this felt absurd. If Rod Laver Arena isn't immune to weather chaos, what is? And this is where the bigger story emerges. The Australian Open markets itself as a tournament prepared for extremes. Extreme heat, extreme sun, extreme weather. We've seen heat policies, night sessions, cooling breaks, and roofs built specifically to prevent disruptions like this. So why did it still happen? The answer lies in timing, protocol, and a gray area tennis doesn't like to talk about. Roof decisions are not automatic. Officials hesitate because closing a roof changes conditions dramatically. Humidity rises. Air circulation shifts. The ball behaves differently. Some players prefer open air, even with light rain looming. Others want the roof shut immediately. Tournament officials try to balance fairness, safety, and logistics. And sometimes they wait too long. In Zverev's case, that hesitation turned into a full stoppage instead of a seamless transition. That's why fans were upset. Not because of the delay, but because it felt avoidable. This wasn't a hurricane. This was Melbourne rain. Predictable, visible, and manageable. And that frustration spilled online. Fans questioned why players were allowed to continue while rain fell. Others pointed out that stopping mid-set can completely change the outcome of a match. Some blamed the officials. Some blamed tournament policy. Some blamed tennis itself for overcomplicating something simple. But let's be clear, weather delays are part of tennis history. What's different now is expectation. When roofs exist, Fans expect uninterrupted play. When technology exists, fans expect instant solutions. And when those expectations aren't met, criticism comes fast. For players, the impact is even deeper. A 40-minute delay isn't just a break. Muscles cool, focus drifts, strategies reset. For someone like Zverev, who relies on serving rhythm and baseline pressure, that interruption matters. For someone like the Minaur, whose game thrives on speed and intensity, delays disrupt flow. And for younger or less experienced players, these moments test mental toughness more than any rally. This also raises questions about scheduling. The Australian Open already stretches matches deep into the night. Add weather delays, and suddenly players are finishing at unpredictable hours, affecting recovery for the next round. This is where I want to give my honest opinion. The Australian Open did not fail because it had weather delays. That's unavoidable. It failed because it hesitated. Roof decisions need to be faster, clearer, more decisive. If rain is coming, close it. Don't gamble with players' safety and match integrity. Because when tennis tries to play chicken with the weather always wins. Now, let's talk about what this means going forward. The tournament will continue. Matches will resume. Winners will advance. This day will eventually blur into the background of a 2-week marathon. But players will remember it. Fans will remember it. And officials should remember it. Because moments like this shape trust. Trust in the event. Trust in fairness. Trust in preparation. The Australian Open wants to be seen as the most player-friendly slam. And in many ways it is. But today was a reminder that even the best-run tournaments have blind spots. As for the affected matches, expect intensity to spike. Players coming back from delays often start fast, aggressive, try to regain control before anything else can interrupt them. Zverev will push to assert dominance early in his resumed rhythm. The Minaur will feed off the crowd once play settles. Alycia Parks will look to reset mentally and swing freely again. Weather may have paused the action, but it also sharpened the stakes. Because every delay adds pressure. Every pause magnifies nerves. And every resumed point suddenly feels heavier. This is tennis. Not just shot-making and athleticism, but patience, adaptability, and resilience. Melbourne threw a curveball today. And how players respond could define their entire tournament. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think the Australian Open handled the weather delay correctly? Or should roof decisions be automatic the moment rain appears? Drop your take in the comments. I read them all, and the best ones always shape our next deep dive here on Tennis IQ.